It's happening. It is happening. Sega asks 650 of their employees, 7% of their workforce, to voluntarily retire. It's over. They're losing money. They're bleeding. Yakuza's on the decline. Persona 5 success can't be replicated. There is no Sonic the Hedgehog in sight. The Dreamcast 2 is never, ever going to happen. Sega is dead. Sega is on life support. They are on the way out. And boy, am I glad to see this. Like, fuck Sega. Press S to spit on Sega. Sega is the company that I think I loathe the first. Like, this is the first company out of all of the ones I shit on that I think I shit on because, like, it wasn't PlayStation that I hated initially. It wasn't Konami or Capcom or Square Enix. It was Sega and their fanboys. They're delusional, blinded fanboys who honestly thought that Sonic was ever good, that the Genesis had a library, and that there was ever a point in having another video game console other than your Nintendo one. Like, Sega is entirely responsible for the mess we're in now, where people actually think they need to buy 4 or 5 video game platforms in order to play everything. Oh, you need an Xbox Series X, you need a PS5, you need a PC. Oh, you don't need a Nintendo Switch, though. Fuck that. We're not going to put any games on that. Like, don't buy a Nintendo Switch unless you're a child. Like, no, it's just... Sega is the reason for this. They are the origin. They are the progenitor of the anti-Nintendo narrative. They're the ones who drafted the template that Sony would improve on and refine with the launch of the PlayStation. Like, rather than being the cool kid console, the PlayStation presented itself as the adult console for people who actually went out and had sex and shit like that. So, what does this mean for the company? Well, unfortunately, I've had a little bit of a look, and it's kind of difficult to see exactly who got canned. I don't think it was like the Yakuza team or anything like that. That would be big. But Sega owns Atlas, okay? Sega owns, like, a bunch of stuff that's essentially been ignoring the Nintendo platform. Like, they're struggling. They are desperate for cash, but they won't port Persona 5 to Switch. They won't put Yakuza on Switch, even though they could easily do both of those things. They won't put shit on Switch, but they'll sell off divisions. They'll close down arcades. They'll ask their employees to retire. Like, just awful people. Like, They are so desperate to not support Nintendo. They would rather fire their essential workers than make a little extra money putting Persona 5 on Switch. Like, what that would be like, what, another 1 million units sold if they did that, at least. If they put Persona 5 R on Switch, like a million, 2 million units sold. Like, it would sell a lot, is what I'm getting at. That would be a really easy way to make money, but they refuse to do it. They refuse to do it. The Yakuza games are getting worse and worse. I'm hearing lots of shit, like people are becoming increasingly unhappy with the new ones. Lots of people are trying to say Yakuza 7 is good, but I don't think it's corrupt gaming journalism in that case, because I don't think most fans are really all that excited. As far as I'm concerned, like 6 is the last one I plan on playing ever. Like, I'm already kind of bored of the series. I already think a good chunk of it isn't very good, so it's like, ugh. It's like, wow. Wow. How much longer can they stay relevant? Like, when was the last time they released anything? Because I don't think they've done anything other than Persona, which was the re-release, which was a port of an old game, an updated re-release that really should have been a DLC expansion. I don't think they've done anything other than Persona and Yakuza in the past several years, right? Nothing relevant, nothing memorable, nothing interesting. Like they've just been coasting off these 2 franchises that just sort of happen to have a fringe audience that is just obsessed with them. Like in Yakuza's case, I would say both of it is due to like just being very, very unique games with like strong elements of like, they actually feel like video games in a lot of ways, as opposed to a lot of stuff that actually comes out. But it doesn't. It seems like it's not enough. It seems like it's not enough to keep these companies afloat. It's not possible, I think, for Sonic to really recover from this. It's been a decade, I would say. Sonic Boom was supposed to be the Sonic game, was supposed to be the Sonic thing to really bring Sonic into the new decade and keep it relevant, right? And that bombed. I know a lot of people like defend the TV show, but like the games were awful. They canned a bunch of them. They literally nobody even remembers the games exist, and they were supposed to be this big entry point. Like, who the fuck even remembers who Lyric even is? This entire new Sonic villain introduced in Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, someone who was supposed to be a major antagonist for Sonic going forward. Sonic is stuck in the past. Sonic is a brand entirely reliant on almost 40-year-old losers who have an attachment for the first video game protagonist they were attached to. Sonic is not a video game icon. We need to get this cleared up, because Sonic has not been relevant outside of this small demographic of people who have deluded themselves into thinking like Sonic is some rival to Mario. Like, no, they were never comparable. Mario in the 90s had already been in several of the best games ever made, and Sonic was just not even worth talking about, right? It was just typical overmarketed Sega bullshit. The early 90s equivalent of what they're doing with The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. Like, game journalists trying to pretend the game is a lot better than it actually is. It's just, it was just embarrassing, like straight up embarrassing. So, what do I expect to see from Sega? Their release schedule is going to get even more shaky. I expect they'll put out even less games. I expect like less and less things will start being made. I do expect they'll be acquired by someone. Like, people have been talking about Microsoft. That would be big if Microsoft were to acquire them, acquire Atlas by extension, and then have them make JRPG exclusives on Xbox Game Pass, and then make that available on all major platforms, including Nintendo Switch, which is happening, by the way. It's very, very possible. I can't imagine why Microsoft would prioritize Sega, over other companies, other than maybe they could use the Yakuza games to appeal to the Japanese audience. But I mean, that is something very doable. Like, give the Yakuza games more of a budget, have them improve like certain aspects of it, like make an American Yakuza game, and then just that's the idea I had when I was playing Yakuza Kiwami 2. Like, make a Batman one where you play as Bruce Wayne on the streets of Gotham and like doing Yakuza stuff as Bruce Wayne, and then like the occasional Batman missions, and that would do really, really well here, I think. Like, there's plenty of stuff in Yakuza. There's plenty of room to grow in the Yakuza universe, as long as they don't continue with this turn-based shit. Like, that's a dead end. That's not going anywhere. We don't know enough about what's going on with Sega. Of course, like, the game journalists aren't covering it, just like they aren't covering the Switch's dominance over the PS4. So it remains to be seen what exactly is going to happen, but I do think at the end of the day, Sega is indeed on the way out, and I will not miss them.